This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Introduction. Rites of passage take a central place in traditional African life, and it is an issue that shapes the African way of life. Every phase or each action in life has a formal process that it takes. Rite means religious or cultural activities commonly approved and performed for specific actions. Thus, rites of passage are accomplishments executed to mark or formally celebrate several stages of alterations in a person's life cycle. This set of life begins particularly from the conception of an infant and ends at demise. Societies all over the world experience and implement rites of passage in their usual cultures and religions. Consequently, the above practices are common in Africa and are observed in different ways and according to each community's beliefs. Therefore, this essay will discuss the 5 major African initiation ceremonies: a rite of birth, ritual of adulthood, celebration of marriage, rite of eldership, and ritual of ancestorship. Rite of birth. The primary activity in African initiation rituals is the celebration of birth, which entails presenting the newborn to the world through a traditional naming ceremony. Almost all African values believe that the infant comes from the spiritual realm with vital information and is passing on unique abilities and gifts to society. The child is said to have been sent into the world to complete a particular task or goal. As a result, the family and community must determine the toddler's specific mission through conversations with a spiritualist, as well as complete formalities and a birth chart. This is done to publicly identify the new member's tasks and guide them along their journey. The child's name is determined after the work is determined, and it is a representation of the baby's personality. Rite of adulthood. African adulthood rites include various actions. Firstly, the children are physically segregated from the rest of the community for a few weeks. During this transition stage, recruits develop the abilities needed to function in societal structure as grown-ups. In this phase, numerous trials and tribulations are common, many of which are painful. Based on the cultural group, these procedures may entail physical branding such as circumcision or other body piercing without the need for anesthetic. Male circumcision is ubiquitous throughout Africa, although female circumcision, also known as female genital cutting or FGC, is less frequent. Secondly, following the end of the seclusion time, the initiated are reincorporated into the society as fully formed individuals in a formal ceremony as well as festivity. Following these initiation rites, both genders are educated for mature duties and are permitted and required to engage in the community in radically different ways. Rite of marriage. Marriage represents the joining of two families and the connection of the new pair's two purposes. This means that the union formalities are achieved to join males and females to reproduce and propagate life and link families. It is also an establishment that assists the couple to well accomplish their task and purposes in life. People's attractiveness and sex drive are not the key motivators for marriage in African tradition. However, the primary concentration is on raising families as well as communities. The emphasis is on the communal rather than the individual. As a result, until a person is wedded and has children, he or she is not regarded as an adult. Rite of eldership. The celebration of the eldership is the 4th most crucial induction ritual, and it is an integral feature of the initiation process since seniors symbolize the customs and knowledge of the past. An important contrast is believed to be established between elders and African values. Older adult has lived longer compared to other younger persons. Thus, they are considered the ones who are supposed to earn high praise and respect. This is because an upright older person's life serves as a constructive example for society. However, the above does not apply to individuals with destructive behaviors or those who never got married and bore children, as they would be blocked from being considered respected elders. Rite of ancestorship. The rite of ancestorship is the last of 5 main traditions, which concerns transitory over to the spirit world. The ultimate initiation ritual is the allowance of the older merit because the eminence that an individual has in life will be the same one that will accompany them to the next world when they die. Consequently, every African society trusts that all ties, connections, and communication with those remain intact when one dies. African thought from one tribe to another agrees that the soul of the deceased is still present among living societies and that a distinction must be established in the standing of various spirits, just as there are distinctions made in the position of those who are still alive. Conclusion. Rites of passage in Africa are sacred ceremonies that mark the transition concerning an individual's life phases and strengthen the leading religious views and morals of their custom. The rite of birth entails presenting the newborn to the world through a traditional naming ceremony. Initiation to adulthood is performed to signify maturity and responsibility bestowed on the participant. The celebration of marriage represents the joining of two families as well as the connection of the new pair's two purposes. At the same time, eldership symbolizes one's knowledge of the customs and values of a community. Consequently, the rite of ancestorship concerns the transitory of one's soul over to the spirit world. This research paper on the rites of passage in Africa was written and submitted by a student just like you. The Ivy Panda Samples database hosts thousands of works similar to this one on various subjects. Visit ivypanda.com to find what you are looking for.